We are about to present evidence of an organized conspiracy of the Democratic Party by Barack Obama, by Michael Bloomberg, by Democrat Party law firms in the last 7 years to run a concerted, covert effort with U.S. taxpayer money through the Department of Justice to demonize myself, my crew, InfoWars, create a straw man identity that was not us, then rig 2 show trials where judges found me guilty, and then produced literal show trials with HBO for a $1.5 billion judgment in Connecticut and $45 million in Texas. Now, I've covered a lot of the insane injustices and the lawfare and the conspiracy against my rights and the fake auctions they held and so much more in the past. And we're going to recap some of that tonight to understand the new information and context. But this is the biggest information by far we have released yet. And this information has to do with what, from our own research and legal experts, appears to be clear-cut money laundering by the Justice Department, trying to hide the money it was putting into the charities, the foundations of the people suing us, that was then used to pay the Democrat Party law firm, Koskoff and Koskoff. Now, of course, we have the FBI, CIA operative Oblebus, Gavin Oblebus, caught years ago on undercover tape, saying we investigated Jones for over a decade, couldn't find any corruption, so the FBI went over to Connecticut and ran these lawsuits. And then we had the head of the FBI counsel, Oldenburg, testify on the show trial that he had gone and investigated us and gone to Koskoff and gone and organized the families and sued us. So they're really hiding this in plain view. And then all the things that have happened in the bankruptcy, with the Justice Department getting involved in that, trying to close the doors repeatedly without court orders, turning off the internet. You saw all that happen in the last year. But we still have survived thanks to your support. But we're not out of the woods yet. But we are beginning to win, and very, very quickly. The Third Court of Appeals in Texas, that's 3 liberal women, just over a month ago, signaled publicly that they believe the Texas ruling was unconstitutional, as it clearly is on its face. So much good is happening right now. And we put out a lot of reports before detailing the past injustices, but this latest information is beyond bombshell. And then there's even more damning information that we're going to be releasing in the next 2 to 3 weeks as well, with a lot of court filings and more. That's even worse than this, but ties into it. But I've been asked by my lawyers, I think they're right, not to tip our hand. And some of what we're going to cover today, we're not going to go all the way either, because we don't want them to know how much we know. Let's just say this: we've been reached out to by multiple individuals. You can call them whistleblowers if you like. So the biggest bombshell is going to drop very, very soon. But so far, this is the biggest. This is massive. And so Rob Dew has been here 16 years. He's our news director. He's been persecuted and targeted by these lies as well. And so he's helped collate this information, not just for these cases, but also for the DOJ. I'll just leave it at that. That's now ongoing. There is a group investigating, but I'm going to stop right there. That's a separate issue. So Rob, just try to recap as quickly as possible for those that already know about it, but for those that don't, and then let's get into the new information.
Sure. We've put out detailed reports about this, and I want to start off with the FOIA request that we got earlier this year, done by Chase Geiser, which details an investigation started against Alex Jones back in 2013 as being a white, racially motivated extremist. So this started in 2013, and it was ongoing, where they had to approve it every 60 days. They would have to review it and go, okay, we're going to keep this going. So as far as we know, it's still ongoing. It's still on the books.
And we got the FOIA request that the Trump FBI gave to us, and Kyle Seraphin, very famous FBI whistleblower who was in counterterrorism, looked at the codes on the documents. They're heavily redacted and blacked out. Right. And he said it was the Boston office. It happened right when Comey got appointed, 2013 under Obama, and was specifically running an counter-espionage operation against us, which is what they do when they try to do a dragnet to find some dirt, but can't do it inside of a regular criminal investigation.
Exactly. So they couldn't do that. So then we have Gavin.
So there we are, officially targeted by Obama.
Right. And then we have
Gavin Oblivious later admitting 2 years ago that they never found any dirt.
Right. So we couldn't do it. So we went to the families and helped educated them. He admits educating the families on how to, well, you could go after him this way.
And it all fits perfectly. Here's an investigation to find dragnet dirt. Right. They don't. Here's Gavin Oblivious, FBI CIA liaison, admitting, no, we investigated him and found nothing, so we did this.
Yeah. And then I want to go to a piece I put together, and this is all testimony from William Aldenberg at the trial. You could go watch the whole thing in full. I'm going to put together a few clips where he just talks about how he started the investigation, how he got promoted throughout the years, and even in 2015, he got a special promotion, which he talks about being on the second floor of this office, FBI building, and he's watching videos of you and other people talking about Sandy.
So that's his new job.
That's his new job. So he got that promotion, which we didn't get until he got cross-examined. It was a rebuttal examination. They asked him when he got promoted, and he said in 2015. And that's when he got his second floor office. So let's go to that clip now, and then I think that'll catch people up to what's going on. But he also admits he went to Koskov and Koskov to start the lawsuit. He goes, that's why we're here today. So let's go to that right now.
So you were the top lawyer providing advice to the FBI in Connecticut?
In-house, yes, sir.
In-house?
Yes, sir.
When's the first time you watched a video of Mr. Helvig and Mr. Jones?
There's a reason why supplements are so big and so popular and have such a great result. It's because
The top lawyer providing advice to the FBI in Connecticut?
In-house, yes, sir.
In-house?
Yes, sir.
When's the first time you watched a video of Mr. Helvig on Mr. Jones's show?
I would be guessing, sir, I would say approximately like 2016.
Where were you when you saw that?
I was sitting in my office on the second floor at FBI New Haven.
You didn't file suit at that point in 2016.
No, at that point, I couldn't get anybody to help me.
You were looking?
By then, I'm pretty certain by 2016, I had contacted the Agents Association. I had been looking for people. I've been asking the U.S. Attorney's Office to help me. I'd been asking the FBI New Haven to help me. So yes, I was looking for help. I tried to get help. I tried to get the Bureau to help me. And then, you know, I called the Agents Association to see if they could help me. And that ended up, you know, it didn't result in anything. They basically just gave me the runaround. And then finally, you know, the only person that ever even listened was Mr. Koskov. He was a gentleman, gracious enough to listen to me, and that's why we're here.
Is there going to be a waiver?
And I think you said that you may have first seen that sometime around 2016. You weren't sure?
Well, I'm sure that it's going to be sometime after April of 2015. And the reason I know that is clear as day, I watched the videos in my second floor office in New Haven, and I was no longer the chief division counsel. I was in a different position. So I know I was sitting in that office, and I wouldn't have been in that office until April of 2015.
How many times did Jones call you?
He didn't call me, sir.
Did you ever see this photograph 289 on InfoWars?
I didn't know, sir.
Do you know whether he ever talked about you on InfoWars?
I
Jones?
don't know.
And again, we're just scratching the surface here, Rob. You and I have done 30-minute, hour-long detailed reports that will also link in larger articles about this at infowars.com, where people, they want to see the whole backstory in great detail with all the documentation they can. Please continue.
All right. Now let's go to, there's two funds. There's the Sandy Hook Promise Foundation, and there's the Sandy Hook Promise Action Fund. Both of these are organizations that are pretty much run by the same people. You could go see who their board is. It's all public information.
And the people suing me. On
ProPublica. And you could see how the year before the lawsuits filed and the lawsuits filed, they have big jumps in their revenue. 671% increase in revenue, the Sandy Hook Promise Action Fund.
So they're not making hardly any money until they come after me.
Right. Well, it just shows that they're making more money. I wouldn't say they're not making any money. They're pulling in lots of revenue the whole time, but
it goes up 600%.
Sure. And so for the Sandy Hook Promise Fund, they go from $5.83 million in 2017 to $13.6 million in 2018 when they filed the lawsuit. And then it jumps even more when they go from the into the trial. And if you look at what the Sandy Hook Promise Action Fund was making in 2021, their revenue shows $4 million, jumping up to $9.9 million in 2022, the year of the trial. And if you calculate it out from 2017 to 2022, a 3,000% increase in revenue. They're making a lot of money. They only made $28 million during those years. I totaled it all up. That was their revenue there. Now the Sandy Hook Promise Foundation, their revenue against you was $119 million from 2017 to 2023. So the year leading up before the trial to the year leading up after the trial, or the year before the lawsuit to the year after the trial, $119 million.
And let's be clear, they're constantly all over the news saying, I made money off them. I made my name off them. None of that true. They put 22 minutes of evidence in the trials of me talking about them. I barely ever even talked about it. I never created the story. It didn't happen. I just covered people asking the question. And then years and years after I hadn't even talked about it ever, they run the PR. They demonize me. They get me deplatformed saying that I'm sending people to pee on graves and to do all this stuff that never happened, to come to their houses. During the show trials, my lawyers are like, did anybody ever come to your house? Well, who told you they peed on graves? I don't know. Somebody told me. Who? I don't know. Yeah. So it's just, they just say whatever they want, run ads, raising all this charity money off my name while saying I'm making money off them and attacking them.
Right.
So total, we're talking about, what, 119 and how much more?
And then 28 million on the other one.
And of course, 75 million from Remington.
Yeah. And then you have your 1.5 billion on top of this, which is, when you add it all up, it just gets crazier and crazier.
And then they said, that's not enough. We want 2.75 trillion, the GDP of India. Whereas I've never had more than $10 million in the bank. And of course, now the accounting's done because they did 4 audits on me, including the IRS. And I made total in my lifetime on air $55 million. Right. And most of it went to pay lawyers. So,
as is the case with these things. So now let's go to the DOJ. And the Sandy Hook Promise Foundation got 2 grants from the DOJ back in 2022, the year of the lawsuit, the trials.
So now we're getting to the big new information.
This is the new information. And they got 2 grants, one for $859,000 and one for $837,000, totaling $1.7 million. And they were awarded these in October of that year. And then here's 2 articles, one from a local Hartford, Connecticut news station and one from Forbes. They both mention, and they make it a point to mention these, that Koskoff, and Biter will get 1/3 of any compensatory damages recovered from Jones and Free Speech Systems. These articles were done in November. The firm says its legal costs have been nearly $1.7 million so far. It turns out it's almost the exact same amounts that they're getting from the DOJ.
You say almost the exact, it's the same amount.
1.7.
You combine the 2 grants,
right,
and they come together to exactly 1.7 that they get within a month. Within a month,
yes. So this is October 1st, they're getting this money from the DOJ, awarded this money. And then
the people suing me that have charities raising hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right. The foundations. They're getting this from the DOJ. And these are the only
using my name, saying I'm victimizing them and using it to censor me. They're raising hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they get DOJ grants.
Yeah.
And then a month later, they file their attorney's fees, and then they're paid that exact amount of money.
And there it is. And it's in 2 different articles. One's from Forbes, so that's a national, and then one a local news station.
And so let me just announce, we've been ready to sue them and have already filed some suits, but very serious ones for months, but we keep getting more information. We have even more than what you're seeing here today. We've been asked not to reveal. It's even worse, okay? But we don't just have CIA, FBI undercover tape admitting. We don't just have the head of the FBI counsel in Connecticut admitting he triggered it all and did it right in the timeline they admit. We now have the DOJ with grants directly to the foundations of the people suing me a month before that then totals the exact amount that the Democrat Party law firm, Koskoff then bills.
It's written right there in black and white. You can go see all this. It's all online, USA.
Well, if that isn't money laundering, it sure looks like it.
It's the
by the U.S. government.
Right. Which we know at the time, so 2022, that would have been during Biden's term.
Which O'Blevis says, the CIA, FBI contract specialist, says we've investigated him for many years, which we now have the document showing they did, from the Justice Department. We got a few months ago, 5 months ago, from the Justice Department, the incoming Trump administration. He says we couldn't find dirt, which we now confirm in the documents. So we went and did all this, and we have the head of the FBI counsel saying they did it, and then we have the exact same amount of money a month before given to the very people suing me by the DOJ, and then the exact amount bloop, from the lawyers, bloop, and they're paid.
And it's all convenient. It's all right there in black.
Can't wait to depose them. And so I was talking to my lawyers 2 days ago, and they don't want a bunch of this released, even worse stuff, but and the other things. But they said, no, now is the time. Go ahead and do this. They've never seen anything like it. And obviously, these guys already know what they did. And so let me just give them a news flash. Yeah, you're all getting sued, okay, for conspiracy against rights, abusive process, everything else. And we are having major backers coming in to support us. And there is a criminal investigation. I'm just going to stop right there. Please continue.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's pretty much all we have at this point that we want to reveal. There's other information out there that we don't want to put out, but you could see it. You could go online, look at this in ProPublica, usaspending.gov, and on Forbes. You can see how all the numbers match up.
Well, the sickest part of this is I thought I was sophisticated. I knew how PR firms and Operation Mockingbird worked and covered it. But when it was done to me and to all of us, for those that don't know, Hillary, they spent $20+ million in TV ads saying Alex Jones says Sandy Hook didn't happen. And he has a dark heart, as Hillary said in that famous speech, Hillary Clinton dark heart speech, Alex Jones. And he's doing all these things that I didn't do. They built a straw man. And he's Trump's brain. So is an attack on Trump. And will Trump repudiate? Then Trump wins. For a couple of years, they demonize me and saying I'm doing all these things I'm not doing, sending people to their houses, peeing on graves, all this. I had talked about it in years. I'm like, hey, even before they sued me, I was like, no, I think it happened. Let's move on. And then for 2+ years, they raised money off my name, hundreds of millions of dollars, with my picture all over Facebook, all over Twitter, everywhere, all over CNN, PBS, sometimes thousands of articles a week, hundreds of TV programs every few, I mean, it was every channel some days. And then it's a Democrat party, Bloomberg's involved, raising massive amounts of money for gun confiscation, for gun control, and anti-free speech movement, and all doing it off making me a villain while they're raising all this money, and it's all quarterbacked by the FBI and the DOJ. I mean, this is outrageous.
And I think one of the attorneys at Koskoff and Koskoff is a former DOJ prosecutor.
We had a specialty. He's going after Republicans like the governor, basically from what I've seen, doing nothing in Connecticut, Republican. You try to win an office and you do in Connecticut, this guy puts you in jail. His name is Chris Maddy. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy to have everything they said about me is what they did. And to now have them so caught. And that's why the Justice Department is very interested, obviously, because on the bigger stuff with lawfare going after Trump and all the stuff, they covered their bases a little bit better, but with this, they were so reckless, kind of like the Onion with the Everytown Bloomberg Group financing them on national TV. They go, Stephanopoulos goes, well, the judge says this isn't a real auction, it isn't going to go through, which it didn't. They go, no, it's ours. I mean, we don't have to follow the rules. He's Alex Jones.
He's Alex Jones.
It's just Alex Jones.
We do lies and garbage in a different way. We have a lot more fun with it than they do. We're very excited to take it over and, create a new, better path for this website.
And the Sandy Hook family support this move?
Absolutely. They were behind this. And, Ben and I may seem like strange bedfellows, The Onion and Everytown, but the truth is we've got at our fingertips the facts, the stories, the data, the research. But what they've got is a really broad audience and humor, which is what you need sometimes to break through the misinformation, the fear that is so permeated mainstream thinking.
Overnight, the judge in charge of this put a hold on your purchase, raising questions about the process, raising questions about transparency in the bidding process. What do you make of that? Are you confident this is still going to go through?
Yeah, look, we won the bid. We own Infowars, and we are very excited about that.
But is it true that you didn't have the highest bid?
We did have the highest bid when you take into account the family's concessions here. They made a concerted effort to make this the best and highest bid for everybody involved. So we're very excited to take that over. And look, it's Alex Jones. If he just handled this graciously and moved away, that would be the funniest part of this whole situation. Obviously, that is not something that he's going to do in the situation.
So you're confident this is going to go through?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it was such open season that they really screwed up here. Yeah. This is a big deal, guys. This is a lot bigger than Alex Jones. This is about how they've organized, how they're doing this. They've done this to countless other people.
And that went on the day they announced it, 8:30 in the morning, they announced that they'd given the auction to the Onion.
Yeah, that'd be November
And they
14th.
immediately had all
November 14th, 2024.
They had the articles ready, they had the TV appearances ready, and it was boom, 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 boom. They were trying to gaslight the entire country, saying Alex Jones doesn't run InfoWars anymore. And then they cut off the website, and then the traffic goes down, and that's even in documents. If I went down to
well, the shopping cart's 70+%.
Yeah.
And then they're in court saying there's no money coming in now. We want it shut down.
right, yeah,
When they're the ones that killed it.
right.
And people still think they own it, which they don't, so they don't go to the InfoWars store.
Yeah.
Very, very sad. But no, we are winning. And as long as we have the funds to keep fighting, we will win. But the problem is everybody thinks we've won. When I go on Steve Bannon or any other show, they go, congratulations, beating the deep state. You know, Trump's in. No, they already have that runaway train.
Right.
You know, it's like if you blew up the Death Star, but it had fired its laser first.
It's in process.
So it's like, you know, boom. So this is ongoing. That's why we need support. But when you go to thealexjonesstore.com, I don't own that, so they'll never be able to get that one of their fake judgments. And that is what's keeping InfoWars on the air as a sponsor, and the backup network, the Alex Jones Network at AJ and Live on X. So get great supplements, methylene blue, you name it. The widest selection of Patriot apparel, t-shirts, ball caps, you name it. That's how we're doing this right now, is thealexjonesstore.com. So please support us, plus they're great products.
Yeah.
More is about to come out. But just, you've been here 16 years. What has this process been like for you? And what has it been like yourself to be deposed and targeted and lied about? And now to see all this information coming out, with even more damning information coming out, every day.
Well, I feel, back before all these lawsuits were happening, what did we do every day? We were working on documentaries. We were working on special reports. We were doing all kinds of work informing people about what's going on in the world. And I felt this has probably taken up over half our time. In some, not in every case, but in some instances, it's taken over half our time dealing with it.
And that was their mission.
That was their mission, to keep us off the ball, off the target. And the target's informing the American people about what's going on. So in that instance, they have kind of won a few battles by keeping us off track, keeping us off balance, keeping us working on this stuff instead of doing the real work, which is, informing people about how their lives are getting stolen from, how the health effects of the different foods and additives that
and
are
the great things RFK Jr. is doing.
Yeah.
And Trump trying to stop World War III and secure the border.
But even through all that, we're still able to stay on the air and keep going. So that's
the great news is now this is backfiring on them.
Right. So
and now everything they did, really demonizing us, the fact we survived so far, has only made us bigger.
Yeah.
So
and people look at it and go, well, if you're guilty, this would be gone. You would have gone away if you were guilty of all this stuff.
Well, what evil means for evil, God turns to good.
Right.
And that's where we are. But just let it sink in, viewers and listeners. And we put the documents here on screen. It's all public. We've got even more. Don't worry. It's even worse. It's really bad. I'm going to stop right there. Wait. Just wait. Imagine multiple high-level FBI, CIA agents admitting it all in court, on record. The DOJ giving them grants to their charities, the people suing us run, that's bad enough. But then it matching exactly when the grant money comes in, then a month later, after years of not billing, oh, here's our bill, and it's the former prosecutor, Chris Matty, over there quarterbacking the whole deal. Yeah, he's going to have some explaining to do, because it's bad enough to have the DOJ give money directly to people and then wink, wink, you're going to have somebody, but then to directly make the exact amount as a payment,
yeah,
doesn't look good.
And we've been, you look at the Revolutionary War. It was the rebels, the colonists outlasted the British. They just kept
persevered.
We're not going to give up. We're not going to stop fighting. We're going to find a way. We're going to cross the Delaware. We're going to do whatever it takes to keep going and keep on the air. And that's what we've done. And that's why I'm proud of the work we've still done, and the work we're continuing to do, and the work we're going to do in the future, because we didn't stop. And, at any time, at any point, you could have said, you know what, this is enough.
They offered me in the mediations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To stop, and they drop it.
Right.
And I was like, you don't understand. I've already, before the lawsuits got filed, you remember.
Yeah.
We went to D.C.
Oh.
And there's off-record meetings. It wasn't illegal, so I'm not going to break confidence. But they were like, there's people above these guys, top Democrats and others. And they said, you're about to get destroyed, but come work for us, and this can all stop.
Yeah.
And $50 million a year just to me. And I said, no, it was easy. I can't sell out. It's not in my DNA. But when I'm up in Connecticut at the mediation, and Josh Koskoff says, we're like the mafia, the Godfather, and then I said, I know you're the mafia. He said, we run the state. You will be defeated. And then he leaves. He goes, I'm gonna talk to your lawyer. And then in the car, Norm goes, yeah, they want you to basically shut up and they'll drop it all. And I said, I said, no. And I said, fuck no.
No.
And they did it again in Fort Worth. They're like, okay, they're ready to settle for $75 million. You know, I never made that much money over 10 years. And I said, watch, as soon as I agree, we're in this other room at the courthouse. It was a federal judge doing the mediation. I said, they're going to come back and have a list of things I can't talk about. And they come back 20 minutes later, they go, it's exactly like you said, my God. This was different lawyers.
Right.
They said, we've never seen this before. And I said, yeah. And so I said, go humor them. So it's not
what else they.
It's not just the Second Amendment, right? And they come in and they go, yeah, they want to have a conference with you. It's a whole list of things, and it was going to become work for them again.
Yeah.
And because they didn't say this, but this is what the richest man in the world at the time's representatives, about 6 months before this whole started in 2017, representatives said to me, they said, listen, you got the public's trust. We want you to help the public. They didn't say, you're going to be a big fact checker that's woken up and reformed, and you'll run a huge fact checking organization, and then you'll have this whole foundation.
CIA writing books for you, all kinds.
Well, they didn't say it. It's all It took them days to unwind it.
Yeah.
It's all very you can help people, but it was the same thing. The Kissinger group, Rothkopf, in front of Harman. So that wasn't off record years before. This is like 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Harman's the oldest employee here, 23 years, so he was the producer. So this was just a phone interview on air, but during the breaks, Rothkopf's like, hey, come to New York. Kissinger wants to meet with you. You're going to be part of the super class. You'll still be a patriot, but you'll work with us, and you'll get some things you want. We'll get some things we want, but we want you to work for us. You need to join us. So I've already gotten this speech before, many times. I mean, I had Roger Ailes try to give me a Fox show and the book deal, and he didn't say sell out. He just said, son, we're going to control what you say. You're going to have wonderful, beautiful women, and you're going to have a show and books every quarter, and you're going to be bigger than Limbaugh, because Limbaugh had already had heart problems, and he lived a lot longer than they thought. They wanted me to be the next Limbaugh. Yeah. And I mean, Roger Ailes tell me this, and I said, no thanks, we're not doing it. And so I mean, it's like they think like, come to me and do this. It's not happening.
Well, I think there's nothing better than being independent and having, just to stand on your own integrity and just go forth and give people what they want. The people want the information we're giving out.
Well, I mean, look, if they were a big, powerful group that was pro-freedom, I would join them. But it's like in Scarface, when no women, no kids, and he's sent to, blow this guy up at the UN. But when he sees the woman and the two little girls get in the car, he goes, I'm not doing this. And like joining these people, they always say the families. I'm not talking about them, about the lawyers, the Democrats, the system. They always, everything I say with the globalists, the Democrats, he's saying the families did all this. No, I didn't. I'm talking about you're hide behind them. Don't do that. I'm talking about your bosses, the globalists. They're way worse. The fictional character in that movie that's sitting there salivating when he's about to detonate the bomb, blow the kids up. I mean, there's no, my soul is on the line. There's not even a temptation to sell out. I mean, I cannot be part of these people. And the fact that they've been so naked about it and so arrogant, I see God working here. This is going to end up, they will be defeated. In fact, that's what I said earlier in the week when I kind of foreshadowed this in closing, is even if they shut us down now, that makes it 10 times worse and bigger. I mean, because everybody already saw the fake auctions and them trying to shut the building down without court orders over and over again, and all the lies, and I've got hundreds of millions hidden, and all this crap. And so now, in a Machiavellian way, and I don't operate that way, but if they were able to shut us down, it's even way worse for them. I mean, these guys, but they don't know how to stop. They think shutting this down somehow and stopping our appeals that are having success in Texas and places is somehow going to legitimize what they did, and it's not.
Right. The people see through it. I mean, the people see that it wasn't a real trial. It was just a trial on damages. Well,
I was already found guilty.
Yeah. They give you the two defaults that were within a month apart, almost a month apart of each other. And I think people see through it. But it took a long time, because they had millions and millions of dollars invested in a PR campaign to do what they were doing. They admit that they were working with the law firm. They admit that they were working with other groups to put this information out to they say, to keep the story straight.
And they always say it wasn't about money. Hundreds of millions raised off my name playing victim. Then Remington, 70-something million when the mother bought the gun legally and her son used it. Adam Land's the guy that killed the kids, not me. And then it just, who knows, we're finding new stuff all the time. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And it just shows how the Democrats are experts at creating narratives, having the corporate media push it, and play victims.
And then they hide stuff in plain view, thinking people won't really look at it.
Well, that's why they put the head FBI guy in Connecticut up. That's when we learned about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I started all this. So it's like hidden in plain view because they're worried about that.
Yeah. Well, they can't say they're hiding it. We're like, well, we said it.
Well, Oldenburg, you're going to get deposed, obviously. And all of you are. And I'm sure you'll say what you say. And then a lot of other people saw what went on who are really upset about what went on. And let's just say there's a lot of aces in the hole, and you'll see. Because everybody knows there's one thing I don't do, and that's bluff. I want to thank God for the providence. I want to thank the listeners for keeping us on air. I want to thank you, Rob, for your great work as well, and the rest of the crew. God bless you, and thank you, Rob.
All right.
Please support us, folks, thealexjonesstore.com. That is how we are able to continue to fight and win, all because of you. I'll never sell out, never give in, but I could give out.